So, how did I get started owning a business? Hey, my name's Steve, and I own Live It Up Motorsports, and I'm a mobile detailer. And I just wanted to share with you kind of how I got my start into becoming a business owner and owning a mobile detailing business. I've been an owner now for about a couple of months, and this kind of all started when I was actually doing some side work, driving for Uber. I was looking for something that was going to hopefully replace that, something that can, have a little bit better of a schedule for me, with the potential to make a little bit more money. And so I ventured off and started with like a junk removal idea. I This was all at the beginning of April, and so I thought, having a pickup truck, it might be a great idea to see if I can find, people who want to get their yards cleaned or mattress, dumped at the landfill, things of that nature. Nothing really kind of came about that. I created some logos, couldn't really find anything with that. It really seemed to be very oversaturated in my area by the time, I was in groups and Facebooks looking for, potential leads. There are several different companies who were local for these junk removal companies who kind of always beat me to the punch. And so it made me realize very quickly just how many local those junk removal services that had already been, and just didn't seem like it was going to be something that I could continue to pursue. So then I had a neighbor who actually reached out, knew I was looking for some side work, and asked me to clean their vehicle, the interior of the vehicle. So they paid me $50 to do it. Now, I've never thought about becoming a mobile detailer. I do love cars. I love, bikes. I love trucks. I love all of those things. But never once have I ever thought about becoming a mobile detailer. It's I had a neighbor who, asked to have the inside of our vehicle cleaned for like $50. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm more than happy to do it. And then all of a sudden that kind of sparked this idea. I was like, well, hey, that's not taking off. Maybe there is something here. Let's kind of see what happens. So I started to put stuff out there on Facebook. It was along the lines of like, hey, offering free details in exchange for some before and afters and some Google reviews. And I never would have seen it coming, because all of a sudden it just like it was moth to a flame, to where I was just constantly getting leads. There was a couple strangers I was getting from online, and then put the words out through family and friends, and started to get some help there through doing some exchanges for some free details. And so that kind of just started to take a life on its own. I had my very first detail, was actually our very first customer, who happened to be a stranger. Was one of those, again, from Facebook, to where we just put out a post to do some exchanges, and was able to do our first. And then all of a sudden it just started to kind of um, take off, to where every weekend I was getting, friends and family and other people in between reaching out, say, hey, we'd love to trade for, a Google review and before and after. And so very quickly I realized, like, hey, this is actually something here. So I immediately started to get some of the necessary things to do, interior stuff with, like a vacuum, some rags, and some cleaning products, like some window cleaners and things of that nature. And from the start of it, like I said, this has been about 2 months now of doing this. It has been going nonstop, weekend to weekend. And slowly and surely just kind of building up, the company. And once we started to see things take off, we knew this was going to be an actual business. So, you've recently got all the LLC and my insurance and all of that, taken care of. Still working on the business license. But once we knew we were starting to pick up momentum, we knew that this was going to be the thing. And so, we started just to lean into this and really kind of seeing where this is going to take us to. And that's kind of how I got my start here with the mobile detailing business. And it's been an absolutely amazing experience, from the things that I've been learning, the community, the support of fellow detailers in the area where I live and service, just all together, from suppliers who supply me my detailing supply stuff. It's been absolutely wonderful, community. And so, I always believe that God's going to take you and lead you to where he wants you to be. And although this was not what I had on, plans to become a mobile detailer and start a business that way, here I am like 2 months into it. And so I really want to start like sharing some of my experience with how all of this has been going, from where it's been starting to where I'm at now. Like I said, about a couple months into this, and it's really, continuing to grow and blossom and bloom, to the next stage. Now I'm at the point where I'm taking, getting some certifications, learning some other skills to open up our services. And so, yeah, now I'm at the point to where, I'm taking certifications, wanting to open up our services, offering other things, as I'm learning. And it's just been a really fun process. For me, again, it wasn't something that I had planned on doing. And it's just kind of funny how it just kind of ended up in my lap. And, the experience that I've already had becoming a mobile detailer, owning my business for the first time, has been nothing short of just absolutely amazing. I've grown so much from the start of this, and now I'm at the point to where I'm learning other things that I'm needing to learn to really start to expand the business more with marketing and other things of that such. But like I said, wanted to kind of just, give you a little bit about how I got my start in mobile detailing, and how I've now become an owner of a mobile detailing business, and kind of up to where I'm at right now, and what's kind of like next for the direction I'm going in with this on this journey. That'd be cool to share for anybody else who's kind of getting started. Maybe I'll share some of the things that I'm having to do as I'm starting up this company. Like I said, I had to get all once I realized that we were getting in enough work, I knew it was realized to start taking it serious, and it wasn't just a one-off thing. It's when I started to go investigate getting my LLC and insurance, and, I'm working on some logos and other things right now to really kind of, take things to the next level, right? Like, I knew once we started having some of that work, I knew it was like, this is serious. And now I need to start treating it like a business, because this is not just going to be a side gig with the amount of work, we're starting to see. So just a little bit about how I got started with my mobile detailing business. And again, kind of just going to share a lot of my experiences on what it's been like, and the process of, getting started, and what the journey's been like, and where I'm now and where I hope to go with it. So, but like I said, kind of share more on the next video. So I'll see you on the next one.